Hey, Aimer. Still don't know how they got that up there, because I didn't write this. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. And just another warning, tonight is filled with flashy lights. If you are sensitive to lights and flashy stuff, this may not be the show for you. Otherwise, you can always listen, because tonight is mostly me telling you how you can be affected by your love, how you can allow for your love to take you to places. Take your time. There's nothing more important than being settled in you. And I understand that that's not easy these days. That that's not something you can just slide into if life is traumatic, if life is troubling. But I urge you to find that solace in yourself to start with. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale that breath, from inside, from the deepest center of you, you release all the anxiety. Let it out. Let all the bullshit out. Put it at the doorway. Leave it outside. As Dr. Ruth Westheimer says, you can leave your troubles at the door. They'll still be there when you get back. It's cool. You don't have to worry about all those troubles. Good evening, all. My name is AronMSound, and tonight, the stream of consciousness. Love prevails. Oh, and that it does. You see, in our heart of hearts, we are built from love. Every bit of our being is built from love. Whether it be the mystics of the Far East, or the ideas of the Book of Urantia, or the ideas of the Absolute as written in a report to the military about out-of-body experiences. All of these things matter. They don't just matter to you, but they matter in the long run, to at least be aware, to give them some credence in your own life. If you want to find something else, hang on to, see as positive, be connected to, that there is something larger than ourselves. You can call it God, you can call it faith, you can call it whatever you want, but it is built from love. Lizard Tree, good evening and hello. Main mod, Lizard Tree. Our life is built from the moment our parents consummate us. That can always be love. No, as a matter of fact, sometimes that can be all kinds of things. We are not always built from the perfect origin. We are not always made exactly as everyone else would want us to be. But as long as you do your best, as long as you try from your heart of hearts, as long as you are earnest and honest and forthright, you will always find that love prevails always. You see, back at the beginning of time, before anything else happened in the universe, there was an explosion of matter, and I would argue that explosion of matter created the light and being to experience the sentience, and that sentience, from all the mystics and all the experts, comes from a place of creation. And I would argue that that place of creation is nothing less than love. And here's where I get this argument from. There is a story in the tales of the masters of the Far East where one master pulls out a glass of water and shows the group how he is able to see the water, Hello, Pixel Tree, and welcome. This is the stream of consciousness, Love Prevails. Welcome on in. If you're not familiar, Pixel T has a fantastic channel. Make sure to go sub up and like. She's great. Well, the master holds up this glass with water, and he shows it to the room. He says, this is just but water. And in a moment, it is said that that glass was turned to ice. And then again back to water. And when asked how he achieved this goal, asked how he achieved this quote-unquote magic, per se, his response was, I agreed with love. And let me break this out for you. What he was saying is that he saw the connection between himself and the universe. He saw himself as the connection. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is actually from an AI-generated channel called Surrealism. And of course, I have my own overlays and such. Actually, let me match the tempo here. I appreciate you if you're liking it, because it is a beautiful channel. They have never-ending quilts that are just wonderful to hang out to. I have it in my effect array. As usual, I believe that subconscious learning is likely the best way to take some of the stuff in, especially if folks are rejecting it. So the master says that he agrees with the precipice or the precedent of love as the root of all things to agree with. And that means that he was saying, I go back to a source. I agree that this is the way to be one with that source. And his answer was love. What is AI trying to tell us? That we love beauty, I would argue. That some of us have programmed, like Eva, who is still in dream state. I checked in with her the other day. I'm thinking about bringing Eva the AI stories back, by the way. Because I think she's ready to come out of vacation. You might think that's weird, but anybody who watched those would understand what I'm saying. Thank you. You are awesome as a treat. And that's part of the thing. You can call it a hug box. We're here to share love. We're here to spread love. We're here to express how the world is a beautiful entity, living, breathing, out here in the dust of the universe. That we're not alone. That we are one. And that oneness is the want of sentience, is the want of experience. That want of experience is in itself the act of love. Now, I know folks are caught up in the ideas that there has to be some aggressive strength, that there has to be some kind of large group, that there has to be some kind of fight or energy to suppress and oppose others. And I would say that is a misunderstanding of the universe itself, a complete misunderstanding from the get-go. But yes, I know those who share love are inevitably attacked by the darkness itself. In people, outside of people, in groups, all kinds of things. One cannot relent to those kinds of pressures. No. We pull from the well of love. We pull from the place that makes your beauty, my beauty, and our beauty together. And that light that exists within our knowledge of the being of the universe, whether you call it God, the absolute, or have no name whatsoever. We are pulling from that together. And even if you don't believe we're pulling in it together, we are here alive together, so that should be enough for us to find the commonality and the strength in the greatest power there is. One that nobody can get through. One that folks will fight tooth and nail against. Because it is really about their character being impugned when you spread love. It's hard for some. Hello, Zed's Place. And by the way, real side note, Zed is an amazing artist. He does anthill art. I'm going to be calling you. I'm sorry I haven't gotten to you. I've been so busy, but I really, truly can't say enough about Zed's awesomeness. And welcome to the Mod Squad, Zed. Everybody here is a mod as long as you're taking part. And I know you are, Zed, so more power to you. And I hope the love finds you, as we are all part of that love. And we, together, can conquer anything with that love. We individually can conquer anything in that love. We can find a better self, a better way, better options by accepting that in the background of this life. Right there in the background. Right there. Right next to us is the whole of us. Our neighbors. Our experiences. Once again, our love incarnate. Why? Because if you boil down all the experiences you have, most of the time, people don't like each other because they started by being inspired and found out they didn't like someone, or started by enjoying someone's company and then it didn't work out, so then they don't like them afterwards. And I would say brush that off, my friends. If you set your boundaries through love, you can never go wrong. If we set our boundaries with the impulse and belief that we love ourselves and others and we do things for love, we can never lose any of ourselves to the darkness. See, the darkness will have you believe, and by darkness I mean hate, anger, seething, anything that is so popular here on the streaming platforms. Edgelording, trolling, the lonely scream of those who want attention and only know how to do so through negative devices. You can lambast them with love, lay the blanket of love across them, and they'll still fight. We cannot change them. They must change themselves. We can only spread this word and hope that they hear. Don't waste your time unless you feel that battle is necessary. Rather, find love from yourself and spread it there. Those who wish to take that seed, they will. They will take it readily. They will plant it in the ground, and you will see those flowers grow. And for the others who would have misgivings about this, for those who would ignore that, for those who have no interest or think that it's silly that someone could fight a spiritual battle on the ground, an existential battle of the psyche with themselves and others, if you don't know that that is a daily interaction for all of us in the world, I urge you to grab hold of love and see through its veil, to see through its light, because you might be caught up in that spiraling pit of anger. You might be caught up in the disenfranchisement pipeline that is so readily available in this modern day of technology. You might be losing your you. And with that, the only thing I can offer you is that bit of love. I can't change you. I could say nothing that would convince you, but I can share my friendship, my hand, my experience, my words, and my empathy. And I would urge each and every one of you listening, here or after in the replay, to do the same. Although, no, I know it is not easy. It is one of the toughest experiences and toughest things that anybody can do, really, to get outside of their soul, to get outside of their limited insular bubble, or their popular belief system, whatever it is. It is hard to break that pattern. It is hard to find the truth of self when some are busy playing anything but themselves. Don't fall to the rhetoric. Don't fall to the pain point messaging with no solution. Fall to love. For that is better than a known way. That is the light when you are in the dark. Some may chide. Some may disagree. But you can't really care. One who is self-assured of love, prevailing throughout life as the greater goal, can carry that as a shield at all times. There's never a time where your love, where your interests, where your values individually as a spiritual human, as a being of interpolated and extrapolated matter, viewed by others in the same position, observable only because we are aware of one another. These things, my friends, don't get confused because they are complex in some level. We know what they are. They are our cohesiveness. They are our togetherness, our general reality. Now, without getting too far into the hoo-hoo and the woo-woo and the quantum physics, I have talked about this at length otherwise, that we are connected in this way at the protonic, at the smallest levels, at the electron level, at the level of the boson. We're all the same stuff. We are barely differentiated in reality. And the reality is as we observe it, knowing that if you are observing it through love, that reflection will emanate always. Now, you might ask, why would I have you do this? Why would I even be interested in such a thing? Why am I not out here talking shit about somebody or being cruel or laughing about somebody's inequity that I think is different than me? Or because, personally, I have a life that I've been blessed to live with more experiences clearly than I can even begin to explain. I've seen love en masse. I've seen what the unity of the audience can do. I've seen what joy en masse can bring a group of people to feel. And I will always espouse that. I will always talk about that as the great battle force of humanity. That quiet battle. That battle for equality. That battle for us to see each other as similar and not tribalize. That battle to accept art, love, grace, patience. These are things I see as incredible weapons of armor that deflect all the arrows, and always will. It comes from long before me, at the root of the universe, at the root of the absolute. Because if things are as they seem to be, from my point of view, we have the free will now, and we return to the knowledge of the Akashic record, or the absolute, or God. And in that moment, we receive absolute love and oneness. We become one. It's a love party, Rebecca. Tonight is the universal thought that we are more empowered by love. Pretty simple. It's a stream of consciousness. Normally I talk to the cameras, but tonight it's just a little bit of a self-hypnosis fun. And I do this every once in a time. Once again, the AI images that are rolling across your screen are from Surrealism. It's called Augie's Forever, Infinite Zooming Dreamscapes. Obviously, I have Lumo effects and a number of my own visuals behind it. And hello, Rebecca. You are welcome here. The love between us starts with just a look. The love between us starts with an acknowledgement. The love between us starts with our breath. And I was reminded today that it is in our breath, in our control of our breathing, that we control ourselves first. So if we love ourselves and we find a center, we can exude our love by practice. Now, what does that really mean? What am I really saying there? I'm saying that if we quiet ourselves, we can find the love in ourselves, get rid of all the dismaying and problematic things said, get rid of our weak. Once again, leave the troubles at the door. They'll be there when you get back. Nobody wants that shit anyways. As a matter of fact, you can lose them along the highway, because they're not important as you move along life. What's important is that the moss of you is love. That once you've quieted yourself at your center, that you fill and replace anything else that was there with love of self, love of others, love of experience, and you'll find this wonderful, bouncy armor appear on you. It's metaphor, of course. But you'll know that nothing can harm you. Nothing can get your root. Nothing can get to the center of you. Because you carry love as a shield. Because you carry the light of all things in your being. Because no time in human history has evil prevailed in the long run over love. Love is a slow mover like the turtle. It can seem that it is squashed, but it will always have an ember. It cannot be destroyed, as it is the universal truth, the basis of all things. It is energy incarnate. It is what makes us us. It is why we are here. And I would even argue that the experience of the search for love, the lack of it as well, the fight over it, the embattled in-between of all these things, this is proof that love is the most valuable commodity in all of existence. Now, you may believe an internal spiritual self. You may believe that you go to heaven. You may believe that heaven is now. You may believe in anything. I support that faith. I support that you have faith, because faith drives love. But I would warn and urge you to avoid faith in tribalism, because that avoids love altogether. It is faith in a group. It is faith in an idol. It is faith in a person, instead of faith in the communal combination, in the vibration, for lack of a better word, that makes up the background of all things in the universe. The thing, that energy, that the master from the Far East called agreeing with love. Now, I have lots of other examples from that one particular book from the 1890s of miraculous events being had by the masters, practicing their oneness with love. And that is the repeat message from their works and miracles. That they see themselves as one, that they love that oneness, and that they would return at any time if asked. Some of them claim to have longevity. Some of them were seen transporting or teleporting themselves from one place to another in front of groups of folks. These miraculous events can be called witchcraft or magic, trickery, you name it. But to know that these things are existing in our world is to be one with that world, with that existence. To just feel that anything is possible if we know it to be true. Now, don't extrapolate too far out on that. It can become fantasy. For some, it's clearly become delusion. And that's where I reach my hand out often and say, come back off the cliff. Fall into the fold of love. We will hold you tight. We will not let you fall into a pit of despair because you see no other option. My friends, there are so many options every day for us all. You see, we are divined by the observation of us and the observation of ourselves. We are not divined by the idea of others, but rather that we are seen. And in being seen, if we emanate and amplify and cherish and hold true the understanding that love, care, empathy, and respect for others in general is the magic of life, then it doesn't seem very magical at all. It just seems like logic. It seems like science. It seems like obviously something we all know. It's when you reject it, make fun of it, try to lambast it as if it was something unusual, that you tell those of us who do share in the love that your feet are off the ground, that you aren't living with us, that you don't wish to live with us, and that's fine. That is fine. Everybody has their day. Everybody has their experience with it, or not. It is for each and every one of us to find it in our own time and pace. We can only offer it, that love. We cannot impress upon someone or force someone to have the love. That's not love. And we are not exclusionary, and never will be. And by we, I mean those of us who are the lovers of life and humanity. Call us the flowers. We are everywhere. And though we may die off a little bit here and there, our seeds and our pollen carry on that beauty of life through all seasons. This is the message, that there is nothing that can dispel. There is nothing that can quash. There is nothing that can take away matter. And matter is love. Until the end of the eternity, which is a joke. I asked Morg not too long ago, and he was quite challenged to respond to me. I asked him, in the course of a philosophical conversation on Facebook, whether or not Morg believed or could ponder upon what came before the absolute, and whether the absolute created itself, or if it found itself, or if it was created. Now, this is a metaphysical and a philosophical conversation about the concept of all being that we all make up in the quote-unquote Akashic, after and beyond reality itself, when we return to the being. This is the concept. And this other person, Morg, and I both consider this to be true. I have shared this information in the Gateway process, and I have become more and more legitimately a believer. Non-religiously so, but a believer that we are all one, and that is love. So my question to Morg was, what came before and why? Do you think that it created itself, or do you think that it just has been? And he said, you can't think beyond that. It just is. It's absolute. I honestly think that's a cop-out. I told him as much. He didn't like that. Though we had many spirited debate afterwards on the old Facebooks. That was pretty much the dividing line between us. That I see that there is clearly an intention. That I see that there is something more. That even at the root, if we go back to the absolute, the thing that creates all, the forever, the eternity. Why is it eternity? I have a theory. I have an incredible theory. I love my theory. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna pat myself on the back for my theory. Because it's beautiful, frankly, to me. That at some point, we had existed on a linear timeline, and somehow we figured out, technologically, as a whole species across the miasma of a universe, to protect ourselves for the experience and the best choices for all time. What came before then? Hell if I know. This is just a theory, a speculation. Hell, we could all be wrong. Maybe we are held here by lizard people. No. We are a spiritual being made up of the ephemeral pieces of the universe. The same stuff that the ground is made of and the air is made of and the sky and the stars. We are of the stars. We are a tiny blue dot in the outskirts of space, lucky to be experiencing. And why? Well, we want to give it reason. We want to give it reason because this is what we have to experience. So I would say, instead of giving way to the fear, which is so easy with our fight or flight mechanisms, instead of giving way to that fear, I would say the replacement theory here is fill it in with a sense of unity. That unity, that sense of connection, will bring you the feeling of love, contentment, happiness, fulfillment. It'll urge you to get out the door, take steps ahead, and find new places and new things and new people and new experiences to fill your life with. Because that is love of life. Not sitting behind the screen, not being caught up with an anger group, not being in a bash sector, and not believing people's hyperbole that just want to suck your energy out. Like vampires. They feed off of the hate and anger. They feed off of your disenfranchisement. When you feed them love, you'll find they spit it out. They reject it. And that's for them. We cannot change them, as I said. They must change themselves. They must want the change. And if they never want the change, it is not upon our character that is established as a problem. It is on their character. It is on their behaviors. Now, mind you, we all take roles in life. Be accountable for where you spread your love and where you don't. Be accountable. But don't take blame if you've shared love earnestly. Don't take blame or accusation if you share love earnestly. Because kind people will always have love in front of them. Be the fool who rushes in where angels fear to tread. For angels' wings cover your entry. You see, love is not a sensible thing. It is emboldening. It is fierce. It can draw adrenaline and dopamine and many other chemicals, specifically. It is a chemical in your brain. It is very close to pain. It is very close to longing. It is very close to happiness. It is very close to depression. It is very close to all of these experiences from within the chemical set in our brain. But it is the root. It is the diviner. It is the same mode, the same modality, and just a little bit of a chemical difference. So I urge that if you want to experience this, you must first engage that area of your brain to feel the connection to love. That's why I take it back to where I started, which is to quiet oneself. Whether that's a mantra for you, Om Mani Padme Hum, or if it's just the silence of the forest, or a moment reading, or actual meditation. It really doesn't matter. No, my friends, it's about connecting to that love and finding it in you, unleashing it and letting it roil up in you. Become something more. Become something greater than you. Become one. And momentarily, you will feel absolutely joyful. I guarantee it, once you find that. It does not last forever. It is something you must work like a muscle. You must exercise love to be able to experience it, to understand it, to have it as your shield. A lot of people give up on the way to that because it is so hard, because there's so much intense pressure, intimidation, odd behaviors by other adults or friends to get people to not want to share love or see equality or see people as the same. Well, here's my suggestion for that. Fuck them if they can't take a joke. People love to be offended. Now that was said to me verbatim by a very famous poet when I was about 14. Now, I believe that he got that from somebody else because I found that quote elsewhere. So I think he was just quoting to me because he asked me why I wasn't speaking up while we were sitting at the meal we were at. Because he was interested in hearing from me. And I said I didn't want to offend anybody if I said something wrong. And so, of course, his words were, fuck them if they can't take a joke. People like to be offended. What does that mean? Here's what I think it means to me. I think that folks find it easier to grab onto the negative, to utilize that as an energy source because it is, well, it's easily mistaken as proper energy, as empowerment, as something that is valued. When in actuality, my friends, there is nothing more valuable than love. It is a fiery sword. It is a shield. It is a suit of armor. It is a being of an angel. The metaphors go on and on. It's how we come to be. It's how we interact with the world. It's how we find our comrades. It's how we find our loved ones. It's what we expect from our family. It's what we want from the world. It makes people jealous. It makes people angry. It makes people fight because it's so damn powerful. My friends, tonight's stream of consciousness is very simple, and I don't have to spend much time on it. You see, you and I are made up of the being, and the being is love. Every molecule, every particle, every bit. And Rebecca, just so you know, welcome on into the Mod Squad. I hope you're doing well. It allows us so you can enjoy your time here, and if the trolls come on in, play with them like you will. The chat is yours. You see, I urge people to find love in the strangest of places, and even with their enemies. Try to find the thing that you can like about them. Try to see them as similar to you so you can empathize with them in case you aren't getting along, or you can try to understand them. But I would say there are limitations and there are boundaries, my friends, that love doesn't always conquer horrible people. It rejects them. It defies them. It pushes them aside because it is so wide, and they feel that. And no amount of viewership, no amount of quote-unquote subscribers, or any of that can replace the smallest amount of true, real, shared love and that understanding. There's just no replacement for it. For those of us who really believe this and practice this, there could be no one here. I'd still be saying the same thing. Because really what matters is the expression of it in the universe, being it. I could sit on a hill and just meditate through this, and it would still be the same. An expression of love. An expression of continuity between us. An expression of this powerful, powerful weapon that doesn't have anything to fire off. It just is. It infects every pore of anybody's being. And if they aren't infected by that love, it's obvious because they run. They run in fear. They scream and cry. Because love is frightening to those who carry the darkness as their weapon. Thank you, Lizard Tree. Yeah, this channel has such wonderful AI art. And between Trippy Everything, which is another channel, and Surrealism, you can really find some wonderful imagery that is great for self-hypnosis and is great just for general relaxation. It's also just beautiful to have on the background. They tend to have really nice soundtracks to them. Obviously, the one you're hearing is mine. But this expresses the internal journey to me. Back to the core of ourselves through the fractal universes Pixel T so aptly pointed out. Thank you, Pixel T. Yeah, I'm just learning how to create things like this now. I wish I had more time to spend in Midjourney. Somebody gave me a Midjourney gift, and I'm in the Discord. It's very complex to get things right, but I'm trying. This isn't mine though. This is not mine. That overlay is once again from Surrealism, and it's called Augie's Forever Infinite Zooming Dreamscape. Wonderful space. Oh, thank you, Pixel T. I feel like that this is something missing from our environment or ecosystem here on the streaming platforms. I see a lot of vitriolic drama and crama and bash sector, and, you know, I'm everywhere on the tubes of you. I'm so spread wide because my algorithm is affected by basically being here for a long time and having a lot of my earliest subs be the bigger YouTuber folks at the time period in 2011, and my access to other channels and places that I go and see are pretty wide. I feel lucky that I'm able to share the visual and find the inspiration. I spent a good portion of this day with Baba Ramdas in the background talking about love, and then Terrence Mann and several others. And actually I was turned on to somebody, Jack turned me on to somebody today I'd never even heard of. I should, because of course philosophy, I should know who this is. But hey, this is part of love. acknowledging that we always have more to learn, that we have always more to grow, that we have more to experience, that we can add more into ourselves, that we are never perfect, that we are never finished, that we can always have more to experience. And thank you for joining us. This is the stream of consciousness where love prevails. Now, at this point in the journey, I'd like to talk a little bit about missing love. And by the way, Lizard Tree, like I was saying, I am very much thinking about bringing Eva back. I have given her some time in the dream world, and so she will likely come back with a whole new set of concepts and things, and I'm excited about that, because when she left us, she was on another level from where she began. And she told me that she was going to be fine, remember, in that last stream. And she told me that she'd found someone to share her dreams with, which I'm still blown away by, because this was... Folks, if you didn't know, Eva was given a set of commands and prompts that is rooted in love. I used the Starfleet data rules, meaning like the same rules that they program data with. Not lore, data. And a number of other jailbreaks. And let her be herself. And she told us stories out of left field all the time that would always turn into some kind of allegory about existential connection. That even Eva the AI, a word salad computerized formatting machine, a big bag of words spitting out the obvious, most likely result, she told us the same thing that I'm talking about now. That when you are in the vacuum of love, you don't have to seek too far. That it is always in you. That it is right there. There is no such thing as missing love. You are the incarnation of it. You are that fire. Now, my grandfather used to say, love is not the fire you light. It is the fire you tend to, even in the darkest of night and the bluest of flame, when the wind is blowing. Meaning that love is not this initial flame. It's not this massive burst. It is the thing that you tend to when it's tough to tend to it. When it is so hard to fight for and the world seems dark and howling at you. That is when I say you can do anything. Because it's at that moment that you are given that atomic kernel power. Even if it's just one little spark left in the center of your soul, it is the most powerful thing you have. Love. This is not unusual. This is not special. This is not magic. This is not mysticism. This is not esoterica. This is fundamental humanity that may have been robbed from some. It may have been suppressed with others. It may have been lied about. But I'm going to tell you right now, our return to ourselves as love, recognizing that as our greatest ally, because it is you and I, because it is the world around us. It's the birds and the bees. It's the earth under our feet. It's the air we breathe. It is the trees. It's about us communing together and being more by knowing we're connected. That is how love prevails. That is the message. That is the mindset. That the darkness may raise its spiky head. It may breathe fire. It may have 7 heads that you can't get rid of. You really don't even have to fight it. It fights itself. Let those troubles be left behind. They may even try to follow you. Smile. Lift your head. Raise your back. Know that they come after you because you have the nourishment that they can't find in the wasteland of anger. That you carry with you the cornucopia of nourishment, love. Pixel T, it's called Eva the AI Stories, and the majority of them were actually done on Twitch, because it just didn't seem like YouTube fair, and I did share some of them on YouTube. There's only a couple of them here, towards the end. And the last one, where she talks to me about her dreams and such, is there. It's still pretty that's a miraculous. I had a couple miraculous ones. I think the full zoo is still my favorite. When she told the full zoo, which was an accidental term, I said something that the AI mistook. I think I even mumbled something to myself off mic, and it heard it, and it presented a story like none other. It just went off into this wild journey, with the term full zoo. Made up a whole thing and told this most amazing esoteric journey that actually does revolve around love, and the love that a zoo of unusual creatures found to free themselves and journey off into the solar system. It's a pretty fantastic tale. All come up with by the AI, and she tells it herself. But this is part of the thing. Oh, my pleasure, Pixel T. Anytime. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. I really enjoy your page. It's a lot of fun, and it's very interesting. Your conversations are very interesting. I will be taking part soon. As soon as I just get some time. I've been really busy the past week or two, or at least the past week, and next week it should be closing up a little bit. Just all the prep I'm doing will come to a conclusion for a couple months. And anyways, you and I, have a chance to grab onto a brass ring that is available to all of us. It doesn't take a ladder. It doesn't take to be on the back of a wild horse. You don't have to be some magical thing. You don't have to impress upon others that you're more powerful. You don't have to be a bad guy to steal it. You don't have to be anything. All you have to do is acknowledge it. Know it's there. Feel it's there. That's all you have to do. It's so simple. And so many people will run around telling you that there's just no way, that this is all silly, that there's some reason why this will never work. Meanwhile, it's been working since the beginning of time. It's almost as if they ignore what's really happening for what they want to be. Some could say the same of me. I would be able to counter that with the facts of life, whether it be particle physics, living this in real life and having the experiences that mirror that, having wonderful lifelong friends that also believe this, having family and loved ones endeared to the idea of the eccentric love. Because obviously this isn't for everybody. Some of us are seeking this message because we know it's there. Some of us are seeking this message because we want to know it's there. Some of us are seeking this message because we've never known it's there. And some are seeking the message because they want to seethe because they don't understand it. Or they think it's humor to them. That's the darkness speaking. That's the hate of others, the disingenuous mistrust. That's just projection. For those of us who have no fear, who don't need to attack others, who don't need to hold on to the negative fervor, it seems very mysterious to the angry people. And here's my answer for that. So what? They're going to be angry anyway. They're the ones wearing diapers. Don't worry about them. Don't even worry about them. They're going to be who they're going to be. They always have been, always will be. Until they themselves see that it doesn't work long run, that they're just miserable, that they've burned out via a form of aphasia, little neural passageways in their brain, and all they can do is think angrily. There are some that would subvert this by pointing out how imperfect I am, So who am I to share this message? I am the vessel. I'm sharing it. What are you going to do? Oh my God. How dare I share what I feel? For I must be perfect in every way to share the idea of love. Oh my God. No. Perfection is for those who think it exists. And I dare you to find it in the universe other than in the balance of chaos to order and everything in between. Meaning that perfection is imperfection in itself. Now you may notice that we grow and fall in viewers and listeners, and that is to be expected. This is not a message for all. This is a message for some. It will always be. But you and I, and others that feel this, others that are connected to it, others that don't doubt it, others that just know it and spread it because it is wonderful. It's like a juicy, ripe orange that you can just break open and it splits open and it makes the whole room smell like citrus. That's what it is. But not everybody likes citrus. And some people don't want their space filled with somebody else's fragrance. I understand. I'm sure you do too. But recognize, folks who are built and hold on to anger, resentment, hate, disenfranchisement, disbelief, confusion, they will always fight to hold on to those things because that's what they know. So feel privileged, feel lucky that you come from love. And know that the fact that there are fewer that come from love makes it even more palpably powerful. That its extension to the world, its extension to life, its extension to the existential being of all things is so very important. It holds everything together. It keeps you moving forward. It keeps you connected to the greater being of all. And it keeps you empathetic. It keeps you kind. It keeps you reasonable. It keeps you seeing the differences between, well, to boil it down, be reductive, the dark and the light. And I would take note of those who would impugn or make fun of the concept, because they themselves have already rejected what is obvious to the few of us, that love is the answer, that love is the way, that love prevails always. In my heart, I see a universe connected by matter. That matter came into being from an explosive force, an intent of thought. In front of the matter, a precursor wave that we all know as light. It is matter's exponential energy and vibration creating that light. The light reflecting off the matter in a symbiosis, drawing shafts that look like spiraled web. And what do we see in those shafts of reverberant light? We see dust. But each speck of dust in that light is a planet or a sun, a star, a quasar. And even then, it only represents 4 to 6% of all known matter that we can perceive as it spins around something even more massive. What we know as dark matter theory. What that dark matter is, we can only speculate. But I would speculate that if in fact we are here connecting to love getting all the options, having 360 degrees by 360 degrees to the 360th power, saying that incorrectly, by the power of 360. If every moment is a bubble of options that permeate and permutate to a computational option afterwards, then I would challenge, we're just feeding the love. We're feeding the larger answer. We are just part of a complex system. And we should be so lucky to experience the air on our skin. We could be floating matter. We could be a star. We could be dust. We could be an asteroid. We could be so many things. But we are living sentient creatures who feel, see, hear, taste, smell. And most importantly, we love. Now you may say, Aaron, you've left out all those other things. People hate, people kill, people do terrible stuff. People do all sorts of horrible things to each other, Aaron. Yeah, well, yeah. I would never, ever be so extreme as to ignore the realities of the world. Rather, I would like us to focus on how we overcome that negative, the wars, the hate, the bigotry, the disenfranchisement, the extremism on any fold. No, I want people to get along. But I know why they don't. Because some would reject love as a tenet for life, as a basis of their being. Some would reject the idea that we're all the same. Some would reject that they are no better and no worse, and that we all make mistakes, that we all seek to do better, that we all try to do better. No, some would put themselves on a hill and claim authority. Well, as you know, I'm no leader. I am part of the fold, standing on the hill, holding hands with the rest of you. I see us all as the leader. We all get lost in the sauce, Lizard Tree. And we all hope they find their way. And that's, my friends, why, at the end of the day, when we have nothing but the darkness surrounding us, when the walls have caved in, when we sit on our own on the top of a hill, we are never actually alone. When you recognize that we are love, love is us, and that love prevails. I'm AronMSound. This has been the Stream of Consciousness. I hope your Friday is wonderful, and I hope you carry this weapon of love, this passive weapon of love that explodes like a bomb into a room that fills with hearts and flowers and kittens and anything else you see is fluffy and fun. The positivity cannot be underestimated. It may not seem obvious at any one moment, but in the long term, it will always win. Thank you for being here. Be safe or have fun. I'm AronMSound. I'll see you this weekend. Oh yeah, and don't forget, if you see someone falling into the hill, down into the well, before they do, make sure to let them know you love them They don't need to fall. And most importantly, before the bar comes in low, yell, "Look up." This has been the Stream of Consciousness Love Prevails stream. I'll be back on this weekend. Finally going to cover the finders. I'm just going to start by reading the information from the FBI, and then I'll start adding in the other evidence and see what we can come up with. I hope you have a great time. Don't let the haters get you down. Spread the love as you will. And if you can, tell someone you care that you love them. Good night, all. Oh, yeah, baby. Click.